My name is Olivia. I am 54 years old. If you looked at my life from the outside, you would see a woman who has everything. I own a successful architectural firm, I drive a luxury SUV, and my house has more rooms than I can count. But inside that big house, the silence was often deafening. My divorce 10 years ago left me with a fortune, but a very empty heart. One rainy Tuesday, I ducked into a small, quiet cafe to escape a downpour. That's where I saw him, a young man sitting in the corner. His name, as I would later find out, was Julian. He was 24, with messy dark hair and eyes that looked like they hadn't seen sleep in a week. He was staring at the menu, but not with hunger, with anxiety. He opened his worn leather wallet, counted a few coins, sighed, and closed it again. He was about to get up and leave when I felt a strange impulse. "The vegetable soup here is the best in the city," I said, stepping closer. "But the salmon is even better. May I treat you to lunch?" Julian looked up, startled. His face turned a light shade of pink. "Oh, no, I couldn't. I'm fine, really." "Please," I smiled, using my business voice, the one that no one says no to. "I hate eating alone. Think of it as doing me a favor." He hesitated, then slowly sat back down. "Thank you. That's incredibly kind of you." As we ate, the 30-year gap seemed to vanish. Julian wasn't like the arrogant businessmen I usually dealt with. He was a PhD student studying marine biology. He worked nights as a warehouse loader to pay for his books. He was brilliant, tired, and completely authentic. We began to meet for coffee, then for walks in the park. Julian made me laugh in a way I hadn't laughed since my youth. He didn't care about my business or my bank account. He wanted to talk about the ocean, about books, about dreams. One evening, Julian invited me to his tiny studio apartment. It was cramped, filled with textbooks and the smell of cheap coffee. We sat on a small sofa that creaked when we moved. "Olivia," he whispered, looking at me with an intensity that made my breath catch. "When I'm with you, I don't feel like a struggling student. I feel seen." He leaned in. I knew I should stop him. I knew what the world would say. But when his lips touched mine, the logic of the world stayed outside the door. I loved Julian, but it hurt me to see him struggle. He was losing weight, his eyes had dark circles. He was drowning in student loans and medical bills for his sick mother. One afternoon, I sat him down. "Julian, I have more money than I could spend in 3 lifetimes. Let me clear your debt, just as a gift, so you can breathe." He recoiled as if I'd slapped him. "No, I love you, Olivia. I don't want to be your project. I don't want people to think I'm with you for a paycheck." "It's a gift from a friend who loves you," I pleaded. Eventually, he broke. He put his head in his hands and sobbed. It wasn't the cry of a con artist. It was the cry of a man who had been carrying the world on his shoulders for too long. That night, I held him, feeling his heart beat against mine, promising myself I'd protect him. The whispers started soon after. My friends at the country club called him my boy toy, or sugar baby. I pretended it didn't hurt, but every look felt like a needle. Then came Christmas. My son, Leo, was coming home from his first year of law school. I was so excited to see him. "Mom, I'm bringing my best friend from campus," Leo told me over the phone. "He's the smartest guy I know. You'll love him." When the doorbell rang, I smoothed my dress and opened it with a wide smile. "Leo, welcome home." The words died in my throat. Standing next to my son, wearing a borrowed blazer, was Julian. The silence was horrifying. Julian turned ashen, his eyes wide with terror. "Mom, this is Julian," Leo said, completely oblivious. "Julian, this is my mother, the famous Olivia." Julian shook my hand. His palm was ice cold. "Nice to meet you, Mrs. Taylor," he managed to choke out. Dinner was a nightmare. I watched them talk, my son and my lover. They were classmates. They shared notes. They were peers. Every time Julian looked at me, I saw the guilt eating him alive. After Leo went upstairs, Julian cornered me in the kitchen. "I didn't know," he hissed, his voice trembling. "I swear, I didn't know he was your son." "This has to end, Julian," I whispered, tears streaming down my face. "It's too much. It's wrong." "No," he grabbed my hands. "I don't care about the risk. I don't care about the scandal. Olivia, I love you. Marry me. Let's make it official so they can't say it's just a fling." I was stunned. It was madness. But looking into his eyes, I saw a future that wasn't gray and lonely. I said yes. We had a tiny courthouse wedding. Leo didn't speak to me for 3 months. My sister stopped calling. But Julian was there. For a while it was perfect, until the phone calls started. Julian started acting strange. He would leave the room when his phone rang. He'd stay up late, typing furiously and deleting messages. One day I saw him in a parking lot talking to a stunning girl in her early 20s. She touched his arm. He gave her a thick envelope. My heart shattered. I followed them the next day to a park. I saw them sitting on a bench, their heads close together. She was crying, he was comforting her. That night I confronted him. "Who is she, Julian? Is she the one you're spending my money on?" Julian looked like he'd been hit by a train. He sat me down and handed me his phone. "Her name is Maya. She's my ex-girlfriend from before I met you." He explained that Maya was being chased by dangerous debt collectors because of her father's gambling. She had found out about us and was blackmailing Julian. She threatened to post edited videos and photos to ruin my company's reputation and tell Leo that Julian had planned the whole thing to get to my fortune. "I was trying to handle it myself," Julian sobbed. "I didn't want to tarnish your name. I was giving her my own savings, not yours." I realized then that Julian wasn't a predator. He was a victim of his own loyalty. I didn't pay Maya off. I called my corporate lawyers. We handled the blackmail legally and quietly. Julian graduated top of his class. He refused a position at my firm. Instead, he took a research job at a coastal institute 3 hours away. We sold the mansion. We bought a modest house by the sea, where the only sound is the waves. Leo eventually came around. He saw how much Julian cared for me. People still stare when we walk down the street. They see an older woman and a young man, and they think they know our story. They think it's about money, but they don't see the way he looks at me when the world isn't watching. I didn't just buy him a lunch that day in the cafe. I bought myself a life.